And we're going to give thanks for those folks who have helped all of us during this season. Last night I was listening to a recording on National Public Radio, and they interviewed a local rabbi. And he said, the reporter said, well, Rabbi, do you have any words for us this year? And he said, I have lots of words. But he said one of the things that impressed him was that for this story of Hanukkah, it's important to remember that it was not just one night in which everything was over and done with. That the story of Hanukkah really is about a process of getting to the cleansing of the temple and then all of the cleanup afterwards, of unifying and recreating religious worship. So that sounds like the pandemic, doesn't it? We've spent this whole year getting ready for the vaccine, and when the vaccine arrives, will it all be over? No. It will just be, hopefully, a new start and a new beginning. So as we light the lights this afternoon, think about that new beginning, and that we are all part of creating a safe and healthy and faithful world. All right. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mr. Falk, who's going to read the story.
In 323, before the Common Era, Alexander the Great died. His empire was divided in half, and Judea was contested territory between the two rulers. In this time, the Greek culture, inspired by Alexander the Great, was everywhere. And it was fashionable and political savvy to imitate the dominant culture. In Jerusalem, young Jews wore Greek clothing. They spoke Greek and even changed their Hebrew names to their Greek equivalent. Athletics and competitive sports were the rage, and young temple priests left their duties to participate in them. For many Jews, it was an easy relationship between sacred and secular things. However, 150 years after the assassination of the ruler of Syria by his younger brother brought an abrupt change in tone and policy, and the victorious king embarked upon a rigorous campaign to extend his control and forestall reprisals from rivals. In order to maintain a united control, the king instituted a form of culture totalitarianism. In the past, Greek culture and ideals were praised and supported, but now it was mandatory and a matter of law. To solidify this control, a state religion was instituted, and Zeus was proclaimed the nation's god, and the king was God's representative. In addition, Jewish practices were prohibited, and violators received the death penalty. And temple observants were ordered to comply with the new national religion. This ruling ran directly counter to a long-standing policy of self-determination and pluralism that had been prevalent since the days of Alexander the Great. Conflict was inevitable, and when government officers entered the small town of Modin, they were met with resistance by an aged Jewish priest and his family. For 20 years, the Jewish priest and his followers acted under the cover of darkness and used guerrilla tactics to try and resist the government's attempt to force compliance. But it was not until Judas Maccabee, the third son of the priest, that success was achieved. Following a series of hard-fought victories against enormous odds, Judas Maccabees and his band were finally able to storm the Temple Mount and drive out the army garrison. With great care, they cleansed the temple of alien worship practices and reestablished traditional services. In celebration of the victory, and to rededicate the temple as a place of Jewish worship, the lights were kindled for 8 evenings at dusk. One legend has it that a one-day supply of oil miraculously lasted for 8 days. Another story from that time says that the 8 candles represent the torches that were substituted for the stolen menorah. Whatever the real story, Jews have commemorated this holiday as a symbol of how light and truth triumph in the midst of spiritual tyranny.
Right. I'll invite Esther Race to come up and we'll do the candle lighting.
Which way do you go?
You put them in right to left and your light left to right. Oops, sorry.
That's a yearly discussion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshonu b'mitzvotav v'tzivonu l'hadlipnei shel Hanukkah. Blessed is the Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvahs and who commands us to kindle the lights of Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshonu yes, that is always one word. Just sit. I'll get there. Sha'asa nasim la'avod sonu vayom mim ha'om bazeh ma'na hazeh. Blessed is the Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who performed miracles for our ancestors in the day of old at this season. Blessed is the Lord our God, ruler of the universe, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this season. Amen.
Amen.
You have the brachot on page 1 of the Psalms, and I thought it would be nice to sing it at the time of Hanukkah. So please, everybody, I'm not a singer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של חנוכה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשה ניסים לאבותינו בימים ההם בזמן הזה.
Thank you.
We can sing the mouse too, and
Why don't we sing
because
that
this goes directly after
This? Okay, do you want to do it?
Okay.
Okay.
The first song we sing directly after the brachot, we sing Miles 2. So join me, please. Miles 2 Yeshuati Lechana El Shapeya Tikkun Tefilati B'Shem Todah Nesapeya Le'et Tachin Hanukkah Beshir Mizmor, Hanukkah HaMizbeach, Hanukkah Beshir Mizmor, Hanukkah HaMizbeach.
One of our community members who died this year, not due to COVID, but extreme old age. She was 103. Her name was Norma Levitt, and she was a powerhouse in the Reform Judaism circles. She was one of the first women to serve on the seminary board in New York City, was an international participant in world religions and peace. And what made her particularly special was that wherever she went, she was an ambassador for her Jewish faith. So wherever she was in the world, if it was Friday night, she invited those closest to her to light Shabbat candles and to share that tradition. She was a prolific writer. She wrote liturgies for coming of age, as well as any number of Jewish holidays. Her poem, We Light a Candle, is included in our Shabbat booklet. And because of Hanukkah, I wanted both to remember her, but also to read this poem that speaks really very much to our situation today. So here is Norma's poem, We Light a Candle. We light a candle and the aura glows, a luster in darkness. We are lamps, each one. Rays shine outward, the splendor grows, recalling brilliance of a desert sun. Ours is a storm-swept age when faith and courage falter. Hope flickers like a dying ember's beams. Then to light a candle marks every heart an altar, and earth-bound creatures soar to capture dreams. Night turns to dawn. We see each other's faces when the candles of our spirit light the near and farthest places. Amen. All right, well, we will move on then to the responsive reading. So the Hanukkah lights remind those of us of those who brought lights of truth and peace and vision in dark times. This year, as we reflect on the acts of courage, determination, and perseverance of men, women, and children in our own country, as well as the world, may we be inspired to rededicate our own lives to these qualities. All right, so A side, together we say, the first candle tonight is for nursing professionals, first responders, firefighters, police officers, and everyday citizens who give their lives to protect and to save others during a crisis. And side D, that's people to my right, the second candle is for doctors, counselors, and volunteers who are called to heal, comfort, and support individuals and families suffering unbearable losses. Side A, the third candle is for government and community leaders who transcend ideological differences to speak the truth, as well as inspire confidence and hope in times of uncertainty. Side B, the fourth candle is for parents and teachers who help children cope with their fears with calmness and sensitivity during this unprecedented time of isolation and separation. The fifth candle is for rabbis, priests, and ministers, imams, and other religious leaders who use their traditions to bring people together to affirm our common humanity, and to nurture life in all of its splendid variety. Side B, the sixth candle is for those who cannot be with their families this holiday because of the coronavirus. We long for the day when we could be without masks and express our love with hugs and kisses. May the day not be far away. Side A, the seventh candle is for our families, far and wide, ancestors and those newly born. May the lights of Hanukkah shine in their eyes. And then side B, the eighth candle is for those of us who, through our daily actions, nurture our traditions and customs.
Joy, light, sharing
Those different faiths also part of the family of
God.
Amen.
There is no Hanukkah without songs.
Right.
Songs for Hanukkah and dreidels for the children. And we will sing the dreidels too. On page 1, the third song is the very traditional after lighting the candles, and we will sing it together. Please, everybody, because I am not good. Which one? Mi yemalel gvurot Israel otam mimene hen bechol dor yakum magiבור goel ha'am. Again. Mi yemalel gvurot Israel otam mimene hen bechol dor yakum magiבור goel ha'am. Who can we tell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero sage came to our aid.
End of the Hanukkah program, and it is a blessing taken from Psalm 90. So here is the blessing. Teach us, O God, to make use of our days and bring wisdom to our hearts. Shine your love on us each dawn and gladden all of our days. Balance our past sorrows with present joys, and let your servants young and old see the splendor of your work. Let your loveliness shine on us, and bless the work we do. Bless the work of our hearts and our hands. Amen.